I was lucky enough to grow up with the greatest cat in the world. His name was Smokey Joe, and he was born in my parents' house when I was 3 years old. He passed away when I was 24. In those 21 years, he was my best friend. He was just the sweetest cat in the world. I mean, he was really more of a doll than a cat. Uh, if I was home, he was sitting on my lap always, and he could sit on a lap on his belly. He could sit on his lap on his side with his back legs on one leg and his head on another leg. And if my legs were together, he would lay. Did I lose everybody? We still good? All right. All right. And if my legs were together, he would lay on his back with his belly exposed, paws up, allowing you to rub his belly, which if you're a cat owner, I would encourage you to go ahead and try that and see how well it goes for you. And he was just the sweetest cat in the world. He had this long gray fur, and he was so soft and just spoiled rotten. And that was our fault. As a kitten, my brother wouldn't let him go eat with the other cats because he didn't think it was fair. So he would pick Smokey Joe up and put him on the kitchen counter and feed him separately, which to me seems like it's unfair to the other cats, but whatever. And he was just so sweet. He wouldn't hurt a fly. His brother and his sister were both killers. They would kill anything: birds, rabbits, rats, mice. We had an alley behind our house. Pretty Boy, who was one of his brothers, just wiped out entire colonies of moles, I'm sure. And but that was not Smokey Joe's scene. But one time, Smokey Joe did catch a cricket, and he was really excited about it. And he had it underneath his paws like this. And then he didn't know what to do. So he just goes, he wanted to see what he had. So he lifts up one paw. The cricket jumps up, hits him right in the face, and he just bolted in the house as fast as he could go. And just, I mean, when I say spoiled, I mean, if somebody was coming to my house with McDonald's, they knew they had to stop and get him a cheeseburger, a plain cheeseburger, no toppings for Smokey Joe so he could eat it. On his 19th birthday, we had a Canadian-themed party with only Canadian beer because he was old enough to drink in Canada. When he turned 21, he got a piece of grilled sockeye salmon for dinner. I mean, this cat was spoiled. But unfortunately, even the best cats, or pets for that matter, they can't live forever. So on Thanksgiving, which was his favorite holiday, ironically, he had a stroke. And it being Thanksgiving, there weren't any veterinarians open. There wasn't anything we could do. So the only thing we could do was try to make him comfortable. So we put him on the couch, and basically we held a vigil for him all day. I sat next to him. There was a Thanksgiving dinner. My brother and his family came over, but nobody ate anything. And people just cried all day long. People were just crying and petting the cat and crying and petting the cat. And when it was time for bed, I dragged my mattress downstairs and I laid it next to the bed, or next to the couch, and I cried myself to sleep right next to him because I just couldn't bear the fact of thinking of him spending that night alone. And when I woke up in the morning, I felt the familiar warmth of a cat laying next to you. And it was before dawn, and I opened my eyes, and sure enough, Smokey Joe had somehow gotten into his usual nook in between my arm and my body. And I realized that at some point in the middle of the night, he must have gathered up all of the last remaining bits of strength that he had, and he jumped down from Sam. And he jumps down from the couch to cuddle with me just one last time. And he passed away later that morning. And now I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in the Rainbow Bridge. It's not my thing. I think it's a great, sad story. And it makes me cry every time I read it on Facebook. But it's not something that I believe in. But here's what I do believe in. I know that every Thanksgiving Eve, for the last 17 years, I have a dream about Smokey Joe. He comes and sees me in my dream. And every morning when I wake up, I feel happy. I'm just so glad that I got to see him again. It just feels so good. And every year I look forward to that dream. And so we had, I didn't plan on telling this story. I don't like to tell sad stories. Most of you know, I usually tell funny stories. But there were some events this week that kind of precipitated this. And one of them was that the greatest dog ever passed away last week. His name was Beckett. And my son, Harrison, just absolutely loved him. And so we've spent a lot of time this week talking about death and explaining to him what that means and what happens. And we explained to Harrison that, you know, when a good friend like Beckett dies, he lives on in your memories and in your heart. And Harrison looked right at me and he said, and then he comes and visits you in your dreams. Now, I never told Harrison about Smokey Joe. I never told him that whole aspect of the story, but he knew. He just knew about it. So this story is for Beckett and for Tom, for Emily and Penny. And I know you're going to see him soon in your dreams. Love you guys.